So the name of my business is pretty simple. It's right there in big letters. It's JR's Hot Sauce. And little, oh, what that didn't work for me. Hold on. There we go. So for our agenda today, where I'm just going to do a small introduction about myself, the way we've actually launched our product, ways to ramp up with time, and how to keep up, and then the final tips and takeaways of if you're actually in the same category of a business I am. So, King of Sauce of Canada, that's a big one for us. We're going to talk about this later on, but this is like, this is how much we hit the mark in the hot sauce world in Canada in a slow period of 3 years. So, a little bit of a background behind me. Well, my name is Jean-René Marion. It's pretty simple. I'm a French guy from a little town from Quebec called Fort-Coulonge. I moved in Timmins in 2002 for the mining sector. I'm a welder by trade. I am also like do it all in construction underground. So I came here for work. So the big move for us was to move from Quebec and come where there was a lot of work. And here in Timmins, well, there is a lot of work. And my wife, she actually finished her schooling. Then she moved up with me in 2004. And with time, we got three kids. We got Savannah, Miranda, and Zach. And my background for like the gardening part, I've always learned how to, at a very young age with my grandparents and my parents, how to preserve your food from your garden so you're good to keep on going for the upcoming seasons. Like canning your beets, your carrots, your potatoes, you're doing homemade jams and all of that stuff. So doing preserves is something that's has been in me for quite a long time. But about 17 years ago, I went and bought some pepper plants out of a local nursery here. But during the season and at the end of the season, it turned out these were not bell peppers. They turned out to be ghost peppers, and some were scorpion peppers. And I'm a home chef. I love to cook. So now I have these peppers. I don't know what they are, basically. So the knowledge of super hot peppers to me back then, I don't have a clue what they are. So me and my neighbor, we took one and we just did like a toast and we went for it. We hate those peppers, the ghost pepper. My God, we ever for a surprise. So it's instant burn. It was so hot, and I'm there. What am I gonna do with these peppers? So then all the cooking I do and making my own barbecue sauce and all of that, I said, oh, I'm gonna make myself a hot sauce with these peppers here. So that's where we first invented our JR's Kaboom. So the first hot sauce was created that year, 17 years ago, in the mason jars. And from there, I work with about 600 guys at the mine. So the product design for that sauce was pretty easy. So the launch, it was a simple launch for us. I'm bringing jars at the mine. Guys are looking at what I'm eating for my lunch. What are you eating there? I told them it's a hot sauce I make. So slowly, one guy after another, they're tasting my sauce, and with years, it became something big at the mine. And now we had something with mason jars. About 7 years ago, decided to put this in a hot sauce format bottle. I have one here, similar to this. It's a little woozy bottle like this. So now it was the time to, okay, how do I get this in a bottle like that? And I get it to shelves. So we'll come back to the big, oh, oh, there we go. So how to put it in a bottle like you see right now on your screen. So the first step was to like, all right, there is some regulations and laws to be able to put this on a shelf. So I did all my research for it. I found the needed the ELF unit approval, certified kitchen, needed a microbiology, shelf stable done by a CFIA approved lab. Found one in Sudbury with the help of the business center here in town. And also, how am I going to bring this to a shelf? So no knowledge on how to run a business in that way. So it took a few seminars, took a lot of online, I don't know how you say that, gathering of information of everybody, how to create a sales pitch, how to meet with people. So that's basically the way the product design, how to sell, where to sell it, and who to sell to. So the product design. So creating a product, it's not that simple Because if you're doing it just for the one shot, well, you got a recipe, you do it. But now to have the consistency every time you're making this recipe has to be exactly the same. So we learn how to do that. So creating the products is one of our favorite process here because we always start with a new pepper, and we do grow our own peppers also. You'll see that in a few slides. So now we have a pepper. Okay, how do we make this pepper flavorful? Because some peppers are very potent, very hot, but you need to adapt to flavor. So we decided to keep everything simple. So the great essence of a great product is keep it simple. You have to have ingredients or you're able to read, basically. That's our motto. So we just go with ingredients, like one ingredient, like a pineapple is a pineapple, a peach is a peach. So those are the ones we utilize. We design the product, and then after that, we write everything down per gram, design our creations. Then we do it 2 or 3 times in a row to see if it's always the same. So creating the product is awesome. And then how to keep it simple, you don't put the entire pantry in your product. So keep it simple. That's the essence of a great product to sell. How do we sell our products? So that was a tough one, right? So how do you sell hot sauce? So the first phase is who is going to buy this also? Me, I was lucky because I had a trial group at the mine. So 600 grown men, 600 coworkers, 600 guys that will tell me if it's good or not. They won't lie to me. They'll just go straight to the point. This is terrible or this is great. So my trial group, I already had a trial group right working for me. They didn't even know about it. So with time, I was selling 7 years ago bottles like this at the mine, about 1,000 a year. So there I know, okay, I have a potential. So now I need to target customers. So customers now, hot sauce, who knows hot sauce? Did some research. So the big general aspect of hot sauce that people have, the conception of a hot sauce, it is like those well-known major brand on the shelf. Those, I call them the spicy vinegar, okay? So now we have a new thing going on, the hot sauce creators. We have more flavor, more depth, more enhancing of your meals. So now, how am I going to target this? Where am I going to sell my sauce? That's now we need to ramp up. So the first step is, where am I getting my products, my produces, to actually create my sauce? So I'm going to start with the first person that actually is helping me to create this. So that's my local market. So I went and approached the owners of the local market. I says, you know, all these produce I've been buying from you? Yeah, well, I make a hot sauce with it. Would you be willing to resell it for me? And then he said, sure. So that was the first entry level of having our sauces on the shelf. So now, how do I target the customers in the store? So then they said, where do you want it to place? Like, it would be nice, like right here. This fits good because they pair good with prepared meats and stuff like that. Near the meat section, near where there's other hot sauces. So that's how we targeted our customers. So where am I going to sell? So who's going to be buying my product? Who will sell our product? Who are promoting? How are we going to be promoting our product and keeping up? So who's selling our products? So we started with the local markets where I'm getting all my stuff from. Then the first big shot that I ever had was our independent grocery here in town. So now I have a store owner, a big store enough, that's willing to take my product instantly because he actually appreciated the way my product was all ready for the shelf. So now that's my first step in big, let's say big stores. So now he's going to resell my product. So how am I going to promote my product in this big, massive store? So that's a big challenge for a small product like us. Hot sauce is a small product in the grocery world. It's not like your meat section. Your meat section is huge. The hot sauce section is very small. And if I put my bottle in the store, are you going to find this bottle? So now, how are we going to do this? So the approach we took, we're going to do some live sampling events. So live sampling events is one thing that we take. I have a picture here somewhere. So live sampling event. Here's a store owner from Quebec. Okay, this is me with the owner. You see the two big smile. all of the owners I'm in with actually love what I'm doing, sampling events, because that's something from the past that I'm bringing back. We used to have this all the time in grocery stores. You can sample locally made products. So I brought that back. So I'm doing sampling events so the customer can actually sample my sauce, and then I can tell them in the store where the sauce is located for future purchase. And 90% of the time, if people stop at my table, they will buy at least one bottle. So that's been going really good for us. So the first store here in town, I did this for about, I think it was 9 times. And then the product started to move on its own. But since this is my town, Timmins, so it moves on its own because I gained popularity pretty quick. But now I'm moving, right? I'm now moving from city to city to city to city. So that's another big thing. It's how to do your sales pitch. So then you come back to the sales pitch here. Who's going to sell my product? So I go knocking at doors. So I'm always asking for the owner himself. If there is a owner, some stores, some location, they're more franchise, and there is a director in there. So either ask for the owner or the director. That's how I've been doing it. That's my approach, hands on. And I always brought a sampling package for them to test with their staff. So now they can see what kind of depth of flavor I am. I stand behind my product 100% for flavors. So now they can enjoy that. And it's not everybody, they're fanatic of hot sauce, but in the staff, there's probably a few people that can tell them, okay, these are really good or really bad, right? So they can judge it that way. And they actually appreciate that. And I'm dropping some samples. And then they can check it out, read it out, do the research on me and all that stuff. So that's the approach that I've been actually going with since, and still am doing that approach. So if we come back here, continuously growing and expanding. So that created a lot of expansion in our business. I say 80% of the pepper I need in a year. That's 2 years ago. Today, I'm able to grow about 60% of the peppers I'm going to use in a year. So I produce a lot of peppers, but not enough for what the hot sauce business has expanded for us. So now I need to source produce. So now I found some great hot pepper producer. One is from Montreal, one is from London. And these are specific growers. They grow for super hot peppers, for customers like myself, for the hot sauce world, for basically they grow. I have one that grows for my needs. So I'm going to tell him I need 100 kilos of this pepper. He's going to produce that for the end of the season for me. So now I'm securing produce for the upcoming season with a official, non-official contract. It's because we build a great relationship. And also these local growers, or I call them local because we're still inside Canada, and super hot peppers, there's not that many growing those. There is some small scale one, but these two are big scale. And they also have a bunch of different, like they do markets, and they do resell my sauces. They do promote to other customers or other store. So you build relationship also with the people farming for you, your suppliers, and all that stuff. So that helps you to ramp right up. So we've been doing a lot of like, I know customer client relationship, some good solid. We stand on solid ground with everybody we have in contact with. So yeah, and finding new contacts and great people is awesome. There's a lot of great small businesses, medium-sized businesses that you can deal with, and it's more hands-on than trying to deal with like a big industry that you send an email, you get a response 3 weeks after. So I'm a small business, so I like to support small businesses. So everybody sees that into me too. So doing live event to ramp up. So live event here in town, I did some. I have another hot sauce maker here that's more to the farmer's market. So I kept away there. So it's like interests of fairness. I'm fair to him. He's fair to me. So I kept away from the farmer's market here in town, but I do farmer's market in different towns so I can get more exposures. And I go all the way to Nicolet, Quebec. That's 1,100 kilometers from my house. That's a hot sauce expo every year. I've been there since the beginning. This year's going to be year 4. I do Heating Up the Capital. I do hot sauce expos. I do farmers market. I do Christmas markets. So I do a bunch of those. Live events helps you to push out your brand there, gets you exposure. People get to meet you. There's my daughter with me in the picture. She's actually my graphic designer for all my hot sauce bottle. Live sampling events we've already spoken about. And meeting great people. So right here we have the world champ of eating peppers. This is Mike Jack. So as we're doing live events and stuff like that, we meet great people. This is our Canadian goat in the spicy world. He is the champ of the League of Fire. So we get to meet him at least 3 times a year. He comes back. I sponsor this lad. Behind his shirt right there, there's JR's hot sauce. And that shirt travels the world for every competition. So we get to meet great people also what we do. So we're having fun at the same time of working really hard at what we do. So growing organically, I'm not meaning the peppers. I'm meaning the business itself. So if you try to push too quick your business, you might choke yourself. So I am in a product. I need to constantly produce hot sauce to be able to sell. If I go and I go knock, let's say at Loblaws main office, can you put all of my sauces in every one of your store? They'll probably taste it, do a little thing, and they might say yes. If they say yes, I'm not able to produce that. So what I do, I go store by store. So I grow, okay, now I'm able to get 2 more store this month or 3 more store in 2 months. So that's how I approach it. I grow it organically the way we're able to keep up with the demand. Because if not, you might overchoke yourself and then you can't, then it's like, okay, now you're stressed. You don't want that. So that's what I mean here by growing organically. I don't mean the pepper plants. My pepper plants are grown organically, but it's the growth of the business itself. Keeping up with the demand. Like I just said, you got to secure your products. You got to secure your produce. You got to make sure you have enough, like, of all the other stuff, like the supplies themselves, like I'm talking labels, bottles, name it, everything that comes behind the scene of having a product in a bottle. There's a lot. This is what the bottle looks like empty. There's a lot that goes behind it to fill this thing. So there's lots in motion, and it's to keep an agenda is very critical, and keep inventory critical to keep on going with that demand. The demand started, we started to climb. Then all of a sudden it just really, really climbed. So then we have to up everything. We had to improve in our equipment to cut down on our production time so we can produce faster. So we went to like a pneumatic bottling machine. We went to all kinds of different goodies, bigger pods, bigger blender, the whole shebang. And our next step is actually to get a bigger facility to be able to keep up with this. That's our next step. We're not quite there, but we're almost at the tipping point of that's what we need. And we're not there yet. And the growing part, I have a small greenhouse. If anybody follows me on TikTok, you can see every night I'm in that greenhouse. That is a starter greenhouse. Then everything eventually ends up outside. So now for growing organically, I'm slowly increasing my production spaces. So I do have a buddy that lends me a big part of his garden. So now I'm always searching for people that will grow for me or lend me a chunk of like a parcel of their land so I could put more pepper plants or grow some of the carrots I need, some of the tomatoes I need, some of the onions, some of the garlic. So I have a couple that is going to be starting doing garlic just for me because with time I'm using a tremendous amount of garlic. So they're transforming their sector in garlic just for my production. So not only that I'm growing, I'm getting other people's to grow. So we're growing at I say a fair speed. It's moving fast enough, but as a fair speed, enough for us to keep up with it. And meeting the great people, that's also for all your suppliers. So great people, I keep everything local as possible, regional, provincial, and then I go out of province. But I keep everything near me. And we do have different, I don't know if it's on here. I think I forgot that. Programs. I got a program with the high school. So with time, I don't have it on here. So we did design a hot sauce with the high school here in town. So we have a program that's helping the community itself. So the kids in the culinary class in the SHSM program, they've designed a lemon pepper sauce. So in collaboration with us. So I'm selling their product also, but everything goes back to that program for the school. So we do good also, and that gets us even more exposure. So exposure is a lot. So right now I'm just gonna go, if I miss something, I'm not too sure. Product design, we've talked about that. That's a painful process. The lab, if you have a product in the food industry, it's critical to have a good lab behind you. You got everything tested, meet and greet people, growing organically, keeping up with the demand. That's a critical one, and expansion. So keeping up with the demand. Now I have something brand new to me since I'm going to talk a little bit social media right here. I used to use a lot of Facebook. Facebook got me out there, and I don't want to call this, the geography of the people on Facebook is in the older group. I don't want to offend anybody, but it's more the age of 35 and up. So I tackle that on the Facebook side. But now, since mid-January, since TikTok got banned in the US for 12 hours, and we have a new leader down south, there's a lot happening. So I've grown on TikTok from 500 followers to 10,500 in 2 months. So my TikTok has actually blown up. I get about 30 orders a week off of TikTok plus since. So that's a lot. They're big orders all the time. They're always 9 to 15 bottles. They're not small orders, they're big orders. And we're keeping up with that, but that is something brand new that we got to throw in our equation right now. If it keeps on growing at that speed, some stuff will need to change for us, but we're planning for it. So we're getting there. So on social media, if it ever happens, you're on it and it decides to go viral, you got to be ready for it. So before it started to, as we were seeing it climbing and climbing, so now we have a bunch of plans in action for it if need be. And you never know, because the one day you can wake up and all of a sudden you have 2 million followers off a social media. So that might happen, and hopefully we are ready for it. So that's going to bring us to the questions. And Ross, you can tell me if I missed something here. Questions and answer.
No, I guess we can start by opening the floor if anyone has any questions. All right, so I have a couple, JR.
Okay.
So you mentioned that you've approached grocery store owners, selling your product, and you've seen a lot of growth in that area, able to expand your sales and stuff. So have the owners you've approached, have they always been receptive to your proposal to sell through their stores? And
No, it's about I say 1 out of 5. It's immediately yes, and the other one, it's more you got to work it a little bit more. So immediate yes is about 1 out of 5 for my sales pitch, the way I've approached them and all that. And some will tell you, can you contact me in 2 months? Then make sure to write that date. Make sure to contact back in 2 months. If you keep asking them weekly, that will not work for store owners. But if they tell you come back in 2 months, make sure in 2 months you do go back. Then you tell them, you told me to come back in 2 months. Here I am, blah, 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 and all that stuff. So it is challenging, but now as you're growing with store owners, that's at first, okay, Ross? That's at first. As you're growing with store owners, they all talk to each other. Let's say you're in the Loblaw chain or the Sobeys chain, right? So if you're in the Loblaw chain, so now they talk to each other. They have monthly meetings. So then if you're doing very good in one store, you just ask that owner, because you build a great relationship with the owner because he keeps on restocking your product. Can you throw in a word for these stores for me? Because those are the nearest from you. And then they do talk. So that helps a bit. So that's another approach I've been using.
okay. Someone in the chat just has a question about the product availability. So they're from Toronto. So where in Toronto can your product be purchased?
Okay, so my product is not in Toronto yet because I'm in Northern Ontario. It is in London. London, Ontario, I have 2 stores that holds it there. That comes from, like I just said, about another store owner here from Englehart that used to work in those stores. But now he owns his own store up here in the north. So he approached those two store owners and talked about my product. And then we did the communication part on the phone. So one is in Exeter, Ontario, near London, and the other one's in St. Mary's. But I'm not in the Toronto region yet because I like to go do some sampling events. The London one, the reason I picked that one is because every year we have the London Eat Wave, the National Hot Sauce Expo in London, and I do my presence there, and I'm able to send people that comes to those store. So people that come and see my booth during that day, then they ask me where's my product sold in the region, and I have those two locations I can say for now, till I'm able to actually go and do sampling events and gather more stores in that region. That's why I'm growing organically.
Okay, but do you sell through your website and social media?
My website, I ship coast to coast to coast, and even to the US.
So you talked about like
I
how
think
long
my
have you been?
my website's right here, the next slide at the end. I got everything on the next slide here. I'll put that up right now.
Okay.
My website's the top one. This one right here. That's my website, and then you got all my socials there.
Okay, so you've mentioned you're a small operation. I think you've been in business about 2 years now, if I'm remembering
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah. This is year number 3.
Okay, so
Officially,
yeah.
officially.
So you've outlined a lot of different marketing strategies that you do, and I know you do a lot of your business from home, and you have a small garden and stuff. So with the different marketing strategies, the growth in your social media followers, how does that like impact the demand for your product, and how do you keep up with the demand?
So the demand is it's I'm pretty strategic about like the stores themselves. At first, I did numerous errors. So at first step, you're brand new in the business and you get to a store owner, the ones that they jump. Yes, yes, I'll take it right away. Give me 2 cases of each. But then I'm there like, okay, yeah, it's a great, great sale. I'm making a lot of money on this one sale. But then the population of that region is not sufficient for the amount of sauce I just dropped in that store. So at first, my best before dates were way smaller than what they are today because my products are still being tested in the lab for see how long did they preserve themselves. Now I'm up to 2.5 years for best before dates. And that's one thing that I did promote to all the store owners. I will exchange the product if it comes past due, past that date. So it's a best before. It's not an expiration date. It's a best before. So I just go replace the product. And at first I did mistakes like that. And then I've learned, okay, so this population of 2,000 people in a small town, they should not be getting 2 cases of each. So we're going to drop 6 bottles of each. So that's a learning curve that if you're going in this field of products or selling a product to a store, be careful about that at first. The big sale seems good at the moment, but down the road, when you get to your best before, let's say you have an expiration date or not a expiration, a best before date, like I do, then you got to replace these products. So we've learned with that. So now I know how to drop my sauce in a store, the amount, depending of the population. So I've learned that trick right there. But strategically, how much am I dropping in every store? I have a sequence of all my stores, and I know roughly about like in 4 months I need to check that shelf again, or in 2 months, or here in town it's every 2 weeks. So now I have my stores pretty much labeled down. Okay, now do you need a phone call? What do you need for stock? And then I restock it. And I normally like my route. If you go on my Google map off my website, you'll see that my route follows the same highway all the way down to Ottawa. So I'll be doing my own deliveries on the way down. And sometimes what I do on the way down, I check all the stores, and on the way back up, I'll fill them back up. So that's how I've been doing it with the store owners. Some of them, they call me as soon as they run out of something, but some, it's like the stores is so big, like I said, they don't really pay attention to my little section of the store. So I have some spies, some friends in every town. They'll go and check the shelf, send me a picture of what's left on the shelf. That's another way I do it. For marketing, that was the other part of your question here, Ross.
Yeah, because you're doing a lot of marketing, so that's definitely going to increase your demand. And being a small operation, like what kind of impact has that had, and how do you manage the supply and
Well,
demand?
Well, put it this way, when we first started, we were putting about 20 hours a week in the business, and now there's not enough hours in the week to put in the business because both of us we still have a full-time job. So right now, like me, my 7 days off, I'm 7 on, 7 off. My 7 days off is 60% marketing right now if I'm not batching. If not, I'm on the road. I'm doing some live marketing. That's why I call it. I'm doing live events. I'm going to the grocery store, doing live samplings. I'm chasing down every event there is. And then I'm nonstop alive. I do lives on TikTok. This is a new thing. This is something that we just added to our schedules. Like Sunday night, I pack some orders live from 6:30 p.m. all the way to 11:30 at night. So that was a full night of packing. People enjoy seeing that. So that's another marketing strategic move from us. People are enjoying us packing orders and they're placing orders as we're packing them. So it's a completely new game for us that we need to adapt to. It's challenging, but I think we will succeed on it.
Okay. All right. Is there any other questions? You can unmute yourself or type your question in the chat, and I'll ask them. Okay. Um, so I guess we'll conclude. I want to thank everyone for attending today's masterclass. I want to note that you can please join us for our masterclass next week, Wednesday, March 19th at 10 a.m. as we welcome Kelsey McDonald, who's the Executive Director of Anti-Hunger Coalition, Timmins, or ACT, who's going to discuss the power of building meaningful community partnership to foster creativity, sustainable solutions in agriculture, and to address issues like food security. So you can find, I encourage you to follow us on our social media, Timmins Economic Development, and on Eventbrite, you can find the link to sign up for this workshop. Thank you.
Thank you, Ross.